What is up, and welcome into another episode of the Somebody Said Kane Show. I'm running a few minutes late here on Wednesday, March the 25th. March the 25th. Here every Wednesday night talking everything Miami Hurricanes as part of the Somebody Said Sports Network. Every Monday night on Somebody Said Sports YouTube show, we talk everything football. So college football, pro football, but here it's all Canes. So if you're here, either you're a Canes fan, appreciate you, or you're a Canes hater, appreciate you for that too, because all views is good views. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe. I really appreciate it. It just helps me out. It does nothing to hurt you. Even if you steal somebody else's phone and you subscribe on their phone and you hit the like on their phone too, it don't do nothing to hurt them either. All it does is help me. And so I appreciate everybody who does that. Seems like every week we're getting more subscribers. The likes and the views are continuing to go up, man. I just appreciate it because y'all can get y'all Canes info and content from a lot of different places. There's a ton of great Miami Hurricane shows out there. So if you're choosing to consume my content too, I really appreciate it, man. I'm just another fan like everybody else. I just happen to have a mic and a camera and a YouTube show. So appreciate everybody that tunes in, man. Thank y'all for coming in. I'm so hyped because ball is here. Spring has started. The Miami Hurricanes yesterday, Tuesday, March the 24th, started their spring practices. A lot happened, a lot of feedback, a lot of folks with boots on the ground. If you was on social media, I'm sure you saw the clips. I'm sure you saw people talking about it. There's some early news and notes things to get into. I'm going to get into those things, man. We got interviews from Mario. You got interviews from players. That's part of why I like this so much. Not only will we get to see Miami players playing football, no real games. We got to wait a little while for some games to come around, but the players are out there on the field, man. They got the helmets on. They're in shells for right now. You got to go through the reacclimation periods for as NCAA rules are concerned. But the guys are out there, they're practicing, man. Carol Sofer was buzzing the last couple of days. Monday was pro day. I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, because, we got some guys that are going to get drafted in the first round, which has been a while since we have some guys, multiple guys drafted in the first round. And this year, we're going to have multiple guys drafted in the first round, man. And that's always super dope. It does a whole lot for recruiting, does a lot for investment. A lot of people are spending a lot of money on this Miami Hurricanes program right now. And seeing guys get drafted first round, seeing that U logo on that main stage when draft night happens, that's what they paying that money for. Seeing this team compete for national championships, plural, is what those investors want to see, man. So we're getting that type of stuff happening, man. And that's what you want to see. If you're a Canes fan, that's what you want. So a lot of stuff to get into. It's really just one day of a spring practice. And you might think like, bro, like what could there be to get into as far as like one day of spring practice? You're about to find out because there's a lot of questions, not a lot. A lot is misleading. It's not a lot of questions, but there are questions that we want to see answered. A lot of people are wondering, how is Mensa fitting in to the new team and how is he fitting into the scheme? What is that offensive line going to look like? Who's leading in the wide receiver room? Who's stepping up as leaders on the team in general? Mario said it a million times. The best teams are player led. You heard every coach say that. So are leaders starting to emerge? Yeah. The answer is yeah, which is good. That's what you want to see. So I'm going to use some clips, right, from Mario, hear from the man himself. You don't want to hear from me. Let's hear from the man himself. Again, also from the people who were there, what were some of the things that people saw? I want to start with this one, though. I want to start with one, the leadership conversation, as well as the Darian Mensah conversation. Pete, what Mario had to say when he talked about those two things in a very quick snip.
Very fortunate in that regard over the past several years about the quarterback being someone who galvanizes people. But I think him and then the return of guys like Mark Fletcher, Ahmad Moten, even though, he's going to miss, most of spring due to, some stuff. I think all those guys, Motoré, they galvanize this unit, and I think Darren Mensah has fit in perfectly.
Mario doesn't say a whole lot, man, but when Mario does speak, if you pay attention, right, and you know how Mario talks, you can pick up a lot of different things in a very short period of time of Mario sharing information or answering a question. So let's start with the Mensa piece. If you know anything about football, if you've been watching college football at all, you know Darian Mintz is an elite talent, right? I don't have to come on here and say that. Honestly, if you're not sure about that, I did a video, all 22 film, breaking down Mintz's ability, specifically that game he had last year at Clemson, where he put up some numbers on them boys. If you want to know if Mensa can play football, go watch the film. Go watch my all 22 breakdown. Go hear other people talk about Darian Mensa as a football player. That's not the question. The question is going to be, how is he you assimilating with this team? How is he doing from a leadership standpoint with this team? And so Mario got asked about it. 3 players did interviews. It was Ryan Rodriguez, it was Matt McCoy, and it was Mark Fletcher. And as expected, all the beat writers wanted to make sure they got in a Darian Mintz question. I like what they said. So in that little clip I just played from Mario, you heard Mario talk about how Darian Mintz is galvanizing the team. That's what a leader does. That's what you want your quarterback doing. When Cam Ward came here, you heard about Cam Ward spending time with the players, making sure his receivers came in and got reps with him. Last week, when I brought Flo on the show, I put the picture of Darian Mintz had Dalen Upshaw and Malachi Tony out there in California working out with him. You want a quarterback who draws people to him and does not push people away. So hearing Mario use the word galvanize when talking about Darian Mintz, that's what you want to hear, because he ain't been here long. And he's not going to be here very, very long. We only get Darian Mintz for 1 season. He's going to the league next year. The season, for us, is going to feel like a long time, right? September is going to feel like forever. If you a diehard Canes fan, like most of y'all probably are, waiting until September to see an actual Canes game is gut wrenching. It sucks, right? The summer seems to drag forever. But for them being players on that team, that's going to come very, very quickly. And so you got to start taking advantage of the time that you've got now. You got to start taking advantage of every moment you get now to build that chemistry and to be a galvanizer of the guys around you. Offenses and oftentimes teams go as the quarterback go. Miami's got a strong culture, but a quarterback can very quickly undermine that. If you bring in a quarterback who does not buy into the culture, who does not bring guys in, he's not one that draws people to him, he's pushing people away, you will very quickly start to see problems in your offense and likely with the team at large. Matt McCoy, when talking about Darian Mintz, made the comment, and it was not a direct quote, but essentially he said they've been spending time with him at his crib. They asked, like, oh, has Darian Mintz been taking y'all out to dinner? Because we saw Cam Ward do that. Cam Ward came in, he took all the old linemen out to dinner. It was this whole big thing. Carson Beck did some similar things. Matt McCoy's like, it's not even just going out to dinner. Like, honestly, it's sometimes just hanging out at his crib. We're paying Darian Mintz millions of dollars. So I'm sure he's got a dope crib down there somewhere. Having the guys over at the crib, to me, is even better than taking them out to dinner, because that means y'all actually spending real time, right? Y'all been out to a dinner where y'all 10, maybe 15 deep, maybe somebody's birthday party or anniversary party. You really don't get to talk to everybody. So if Darian Mintz is taking the offensive line out to dinner, he's probably only really getting an opportunity to really talk to a handful of guys. But when you at the crib and some food on deck, it's a game on, maybe y'all playing video games, you got a pool or something like that, you get a chance to really chop it up with everybody. And so that, to me, speaks to how Darian is building the chemistry and building the relationship with his teammates, because that's the key piece. Football-wise, Darian Mintz is going to be fine. If you saw the clips that people put up of Mensa in the first spring practice, he looks real comfortable. He's just got a confident savvy about him, the way you see him going through his reps. You know, he's not forcing anything. He looks like a guy who's been through multiple college spring practices. And even though this is his first one in Miami, he looked real comfortable, right? And then we all saw the clip they put out of him throwing the ball to Vandrevius Jacobs, winning that one-on-one rep against Xavier Lucas. So from a football standpoint, there's nothing to worry about with Darian Mintz. Like, he's going to ball from that standpoint. The only thing that could hinder him is not having the chemistry and the relationship with his guys around him. And it seems like he's doing all the right things you want to hear from that standpoint. As far as leaders, did you notice some of the names that Mario threw out in that clip that I played? He mentioned a Matt McCoy. He mentions a Motore. He mentions a Ryan Rodriguez. The best teams are player led. Mario says it all the time. You've heard coaches over the years say it. So Mario, when you pay attention to him, when he answers the question, he does a good job of showing love kind of across the board. Like he'll mention a bunch of names, and sometimes he even say, "Well, I don't want to say some name because I don't want to leave people out." But sometimes when he's speaking extemporaneously, he will say some names because those are the names that come to his head first. So when they ask about other guys that are galvanizing the team outside of Darian Mensah, immediately without even thinking about it, he throws out Matt McCoy, he throws out Ryan Rodriguez, and he throws out a guy like Motore. He throws out an Ahmad Moten. I'm gonna come back to the Ahmad Moten piece in a second. Those are your leaders, right? Those are the guys who have been in the system multiple years. Samson, Matt McCoy, Ryan Rodriguez have been around. They know how Mario handled business. They know what to expect and what the standard is for even a spring practice. Motore, who's played for Coach Heatherman 2 years before coming to Miami, and then he had all of last year. Those are the leaders. And you got to have them. Like, you got to have those leaders, dog. If you don't have leaders in that locker room, coaches can't be around all the time, man. Even some of y'all like me, you play little league ball, maybe you play high school ball, maybe you played a little D2 ball or D1 ball. You know, coaches only see so much. Like, coaches like to think sometimes, some coaches, they like to think they always know what's going on. They don't always know what's going on, bro. It's just way too many jits for a coach to really know what all these kids are doing. Even with a staff as big as Miami's, there's no way of always knowing what's going on. But the players do, though, right? Like, players always know what's going on. I'm a people leader in my day job. I don't always know all the conversations they have between each other, but there's always one or two people on the team who can tell you what everybody else saying. It's the same thing when it comes to this. So you can't expect the coaches to always be there holding guys accountable and making sure guys ain't acting up and being goofballs. You need players to be leaders. So hearing Mario immediately jump in the fact that McCoy, Moden, Motore, and those dudes, those clearly are the leaders that have been identified. And so then it's not surprising the first guys to do player interviews, Matt McCoy, Ryan Rodriguez, Mark Fletcher, right? Those are going to be your leaders, man, and those are going to be the guys that they lean on to make sure that players are keeping each other accountable. And you need that. You need players doing that. So just in a very short segment, there's some things you could pull out of that. Let's go position group and just talk about some of the other dudes and some of the other news and notes that are coming out of it. Let's start with some offensive notes. So I talked about Darian Mensah. Don't need to spend a whole lot more time talking about Mensah. I do want to talk quickly about Darion Coleman because I'm a big Darion Coleman fan. And Darion is a true freshman quarterback out of Orlando Jones program. 3-year starter, I believe, over there. Orlando Jones won at least one Florida State championship. Go look at the clips of him. I wanted to have it in time for this, and, life just didn't let me. Go look at the clips of Darian Coleman going through reps, and then look at all the other guys going through reps, and tell me you don't see a difference in how that ball come out his hand. I sent it to my homies in the chat because somebody had did a little montage of him throwing the ball. The ball jumps out of Darion Coleman's hands, and his release is the quickest in that room. It's quicker than Darian Mensah's. Darion Coleman has a better release, a faster, quicker release right now than Darian Mensah. Darion Coleman, man, if his processing speed is anywhere close to his pass release, this kid is gonna do some special things, dog. Like, go watch it. Like, when you see the ball come out of Darion Coleman's hands, it looks different. It just looks different. And I'm almost afraid to do this, but I'm gonna do it. It looked like Cam Ward. Not him, not his stature, and I'm not saying he is Cam Ward, But when you see that ball, the way it jumps out of his hand with the speed and the quickness about which he get that ball off, he looks like a shortstop. The way he turned that ball over, man, he get it out of his hands. Darion Coleman, if the processing speed is there, heaven forbid he grows like another 3-4 inches. Heaven forbid, because I'm gonna really start saying some lies about what Darion Coleman gonna do if that boy put that all together. Running back room, not a whole lot to talk about there. Mark Fletcher, praise all the guys for coming back. We return everybody. Mark seems especially excited about Jordan Lyle, which if Jordan Lyle can really be what I think the coaching staff thought he would last season before he got hurt, we're going to have the best running back room in the country because we know what Mark Fletcher is. Marty Brown is more than serviceable. If Jordan Lyle can be what they thought Jordan Lyle was going to be last year when he was the starter going into last season, running back room is going to be the best running back room in the country. And I don't have a whole lot of hesitation in saying that. Offensive line. So a couple of nuggets that come out of offensive line. And again, you got to listen to all the interviews and you got to pay attention to what everybody's saying. I'm not there at practice. But if you pay close attention, you pick some things up. First of all, Matt McCoy has seemingly kicked over to right tackle. Will he stay there? I don't know. I had a conversation with my guy, Adam, who was on the show 2 weeks ago. Moving Matt McCoy from left guard to starting Spring at right tackle, to me, feels like a definite move. They're going to shuffle guys. They always cross-train. Mirrorball always makes sure guys learn multiple positions. But when you make a call to move a guy from left guard to right tackle, that's a big difference. And it feels like one of those, when you do that, you got to stick with it unless the guy just bombs it. So unless Matt McCoy, I think, just completely falls apart at right tackle, I fully expect him to stay there. If Matt McCoy's at right tackle, Jackson Cantwell, as was also reported, is starting out on the left side. I assume he started on that right side like CC Maui Noah did. Whatever reason, Jackson Cantwell starting out on that left side. So those are your tackles as it stands through 1 day of spring practice. Again, I don't expect a whole lot of movement to happen between that because switching from right to left is kind of a big deal. If you don't really know the difference and you think it's simple, man, do your research. Switching from the left side to the right side of an offensive line is not a simple thing, man. So them making the decision to move McCoy to right tackle seems like they really want him there for specific reasons. Cantwell starting out at left tackle. That kind of leaves you a couple of guys. Ron Rodriguez, who I said was one of the guys who did a player interview, full expectation for him to be the starting center. So now that's 3 of your spots. Samson, I would imagine you put Samson Okunlola at left guard so that he's next to a Jackson Cantwell. If you're going to start a true freshman at tackle, you want to put a seasoned guy next to him. You want to put a guy next to him who can help him out, right? Little moments here and there of, hey, what do I do on this play call real quick in between plays, calling out protections and making sure he knows what's going on, answering questions during practice. You want to put Samson or you want to put a veteran guy with a lot of snaps under his belt next to a Jackson Cantwell, I would imagine. They did not report this. This is me just thinking critically, right? If we got Jackson Cantwell at left tackle, it just makes sense to put Samson at left guard because McCoy is now over at right tackle. That leaves the right guard spot as the 5th spot open. And I thought going into this, that was the one spot to be had. I thought those other 4 would lock down spots, and it sounds like they have. Is it going to be Jamal Merriweather? Is it going to be Max Buchanan? If I had to bet right now today, I'd say it's probably Merriweather. But a lot of people like Max Buchanan a lot, man. There's a lot of really good things being said about Max Buchanan, man. So I wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't blow me away if he was able to win that right guard spot. But, we'll see how that plays out, man. That's why you have spring ball. Real quick on the wide receivers, man. I thought Mario had a nice little clip about that again, you pay attention to stuff Mario say, man. He will let you on about some things. This is what Mario had to say about the wide receiver room.
Wide receiver room will be the most competitive it's been since we have been here. And Dre and Cam Vaughn, they've done really, really well. Josh Moore has really upped his game this offseason also. Dalen Upshaw, people forget that guy caught a hitch against Syracuse and went up and just ran through somebody and got 15 yards. And he was on his way to being an impact guy last year. and he's fully healthy now. So that room is going to be awesome to watch, and it's like tryouts. It's an unbelievable opportunity to keep themselves on edge and get the best out of that room.
If guys ain't hooping, Mario not gonna talk about him like that. If the room ain't legit, Mario ain't gonna talk about it like that. If you don't believe me, go back to when Mario first showed up in Miami. He was not talking about position group rooms like that. That means he really, really likes what he sees. So everything we thought we was gonna see, we were all hype about Cooper Barkade, 1,000-yard receiver. Everybody knows what Malachi Tony is. Everybody fully expects, a Dalen Upshaw to take that step. Last week, Flo was on. Flo was, speaking glowingly of Dalen Upshaw. Mario is talking about how deep this room is, that these guys are pushing each other. It's going to be a fight to get reps and to get snaps. That wide receiver room is going to be nasty. It's the deepest it's been. Mario said it himself. That means it's better than that room we had with Xavier Restrepo and Jacoby George and them boys. This wide receiver room, man, is easily going to be the best we've had in a while. People are saying it's 6-7 deep. And I think I'm all in on that, right? If you just go down the line with the names, right? Malachi Tony, Cooper Barkade, Josh Moore, who Mario went out of his way to call out, Dalen Upshaw, who's been putting a lot of work. Flo hyped them up a lot, man, and Flo not doing that for no reason. Vandrevius Jacobs, who you got out of the portal, who people are saying is the fastest on the team. Cam Vaughn, that's 6 right there. You're not even talking about 6'5" freshman Milan Paris, maybe even 6'6", physically looks as gifted as anybody in the room. Vance Spafford, who's a speed demon, ran a 4.3 before he got hurt for his senior season. That room is deep. We lost JoJo. I wanted to keep JoJo. I'm a JoJo fan. But man, that wide receiver room is deep, man. At least 6, which means you can rotate guys, you can keep them fresh. They bring different skill sets to the table. Wide receiver room is going to be special, dog. That thing is going to be fun to watch. We had the number 1 offense in the country with Cam Ward 2 years ago. Some records that they set could get broken. I'm just going to, hey, listen, man. I haven't been excited about a Miami offensive line, or I mean, in Miami offense like this in a long time, dog. That offense is going to be crazy. Let's go ahead and flip over to the defense, man. We are deep into it. I try to keep these at 30 minutes. Get y'all what y'all want to hear. Get off the thoughts that I have on my side and keep it moving. Jump over to the defense. So I said I'd come back to the Ahmad Moten piece. Ahmad Moten is going to miss all the spring. He had a cleanup. We knew he was hurt in the playoffs. He had the ankle situation, really gutted it out to play as much as he could. Probably shouldn't have been out there, but you don't miss an opportunity like that. So Ahmad Moten's going to miss a spring. Ahmad Moten doesn't need a spring. And honestly, I think that's fine, because with Ahmad being out, you give somebody else who you're going to need a rotation. You need a rotation of D tackles, at least 3. Now somebody else is going to get a lot of valuable reps in the starting D lineup, because, they're going to be asked to play snaps, because, D tackles, they can't just stay on the field in the modern football game as much as maybe they used to. Defensive end, we're expecting Damon Wilson to be a starter. And the question is, who's that other starter? Is it Armando Blunt? Is it Marquise Lightfoot? One of those other guys. The linebacker spot, Mario's asked about that. Mo Torre is one of your leaders on your team, but who's starting next to him? Is it Kamal Bonner? Is it a Bobby Pruitt? Is it going to be one of these other guys who takes a big step and goes and sees that open role? The cornerback room? The cornerback room is as good as any other room on this roster, which is crazy because 2 years ago, the cornerback room was a detriment to the team. The cornerback room was a problem. We all remember that Syracuse game 2 years ago, and them boys literally just was little dogging us, man. Just throwing jump ball after jump ball, and our corners couldn't do nothing about it. We are at minimum 4 deep at corner. We have 4 corners that could be starters most places in the country. I think the starters are going to end up being Damari Brown and Xavier Lucas. Physically, they're the most gifted. They're both big. long, rangy. They can run. You saw when Xavier Lucas came into that Indiana game in the national championship, things looked a little different on that side where he plugged in at. You put a healthy Damari Brown in there. Damari Brown last season, some people might forget this, when he did get on the field, he was playing himself into being arguably the best corner on the team. Then he gets hurt and he misses a lot of time. The cornerback room is crazy. Safety, we know Zachariah Poise is going to be a starter. Bryce Fitzgerald is going to start somewhere. Omar Thornton very much is going to start. He has some really good reps, they said, especially covering guys out the slot. The name to think about in that safety room / nickel room, you can kind of put those all together. J.J. Dunnigan. Bro, last week I asked Flo, I said, Flo, who's a player people aren't talking about that they probably should be? Immediately he said J.J. Dunnigan. I hit him up the other day. I said, bro, since you came on my show and you said that, I feel like I've heard J.J. Dunnigan's name at least once a day. I've heard it, I've read it, I've seen it at least once a day since Flo came on here last week and said that J.J. Dunnigan is a dude to be thinking about. And the early returns from everybody who was there is he is like that. Another player said that he thinks JJ might be fastest guy on the team, which is crazy considering his measurables. If he can put it all together, physically, he's going to be the best safety we have. Can he just put it all together? That's the only question. Can he be a guy where he's just too good to leave off the field? So, a lot of interesting news and notes. That's going to be one to watch. Not a whole lot of storylines, which is dope. Going in the spring, you want to have storylines because it gives everybody something to talk about. There's not a ton of storylines with this team, man. There's a lot of stamp proven commodities, which that's what you really want, especially coming off a natty run. And we want to be consistently contending. You want a lot of proven commodities, man. And this team just has a lot of proven commodities. So we'll continue to see what happens this week. They're off today is Wednesday. From what I understand, they're going to practice Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Big recruiting weekend is coming up this weekend. We got 2 commits. We got Josh Johnson, the defensive end out of Key West. We also got Sherrod Gordine from, I want to say he's from like Pompano. I could be wrong on that. Somebody check me on that. A DB who's really good friends with Jalen Jones, who's already committed. So commits are starting to roll in as well. Expect that to continue. That's not going to slow down. We are recruiting at a high level. The staff is being very selective and picky because they know they can be. Recruiting is going to continue. I want to wrap up talking a little bit about the Pro Day. So on Monday, we had Pro Day at UM. I got a chance to watch a good bit of it. I think the Pro Day is fine. Between the Combine and the Pro Day, I don't feel like that should change a whole lot of things from teams what they draft. If you watch film, if you're a GM or you're a scout for a professional football team, you should not have shown up to Miami on Monday and been surprised by what you saw from Keontae Scott. You should not have shown up and been excessively impressed by what you saw from Ruben Bain or Francis Maury Noah because they've been doing it all year. Like they've been doing it all year. Like Keontae Scott has been balling all year. He should have won the Jim Thorpe. So you should not have needed Pro Day to tell you that Keontae Scott is like that. He shouldn't have to do stuff in compression shorts in an indoor practice field to let you know that you should be paying attention to this man. Appreciate y'all in the comments, man. Appreciate y'all commenting, man. Please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. Again, man, hey, I'm a junkie, man. I bleed this. Y'all bleed this too, bro. Jacoby, I know you probably bleed this just like I do, bro. I have an unhealthy relationship with these Miami Hurricanes, man. So, but yeah, going back to the Pro Day piece, you should not have shown up on Monday and then saw that, hey, maybe Keontae Scott's the best nickel corner in this draft. You should have knew that already. He should have won the Jim Thorpe. What was you doing in the fall? Were you not watching the Ohio State game? Right? You shouldn't be shocked and surprised. I feel like NFL do all this stuff. They 40 times and all these random drills. Bro, what did guys do when they had to pass on? Jacoby Thomas didn't test all that great. Put the film on, though. Put the film on and tell me There's 10, 15 safeties better than Jacoby Thomas in this draft. I dare you. I dare you to do it. So the pro day is cool. There was over 100 NFL personnel there. Every single NFL team was on site Monday. It's a big opportunity for the school. It's a validation of everything that Mario has said he's been doing with this program. You go win a natty, or you go play for a natty. Good grief. We were 40 yards from winning it. You go play for a natty, and then you have a pro day like this, man. It says that you've been doing the recruiting and the development that it takes to sustain and build a real program, right? That's what Ohio State expects at their pro days. That's what Georgia expects at their pro days. When Mario got here, we had one guy drafted in the 7th round. We should have at least 3 drafted in the 1st round next month. So the pro day it itself, I think, is a bunch of tomfoolery. I think is whatever, dog. I don't really care what a guy does in compression shorts or and no shirt. What did he do in the past was on? But if I'm looking at the positive angle of it, it's a nice display, a nice showcase of what Miami's been building. And the fact that every NFL team was there, over 100 NFL personnel were on site, says that these guys are legit, man. And what Mario's building is for real. He told a dude who interviewed him, he said, "Hey, I told you last year you was gonna be here this year. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna be back next year." That means that Mario feels good about this team, man, which means we should be excited about this team. We should feel good about this team. I went a little bit longer than the 30 minutes, man. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I could go another 30. Man, I could talk Kane's ball 25-8, but I try to keep the shows around 30 minutes, man. As always, I appreciate every single person that watches, every single person that hits a like. Please hit that subscribe. I'm going to do my best to continue to try to bring content that I, as a Canes fan, would also want to see, giving my perspective and my spin on stuff. But there's a lot of really dope guys covering this team and talking about this team, man. I encourage you to check them all out. I watch a bunch of them myself. That's all I got for y'all this week. Next week, I'll come back talking about a few more practices, maybe some more news from a recruiting standpoint. But until then, man, y'all know what it is. As always, it's Go Canes. Holla at y'all next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Same bat channel, same bat place. Y'all be easy.